Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a very powerful social bookmarking site called Diigo. Yeah, it's kind of a funny name, but it is an incredibly powerful tool for organizing your content, for sharing and collaboration. But don't be scared, because I'm not going to go into all the advanced features right now. I'm just going to share you a couple of simple tools and explain how we're using those tools here at HighCallingBlogs. Let's go over to the site. Now when you get to the Diigo site, the first thing you're going to need to do if you don't already have a user account with them is join. So there's a nice little Join Diigo button right here, and then you just fill out this basic form, complete the CAPTCHA and hit continue, and you'll be able to join Diigo. Now I already have a user account with them, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign in and do that so that you can see what the inside looks like. And it looks a lot like, Delicious. It's got a list of tags over here on the right, recent tags, and a list of your bookmarks. So you can see I leave a lot of HighCallingBlog comments, and I do a lot of other stuff because I use Diigo for my personal use as well as for HighCallingBlogs. Now to use Diigo, you're going to have to install a toolbar in your browser or what they call the Diigo. And I'm going to go with the browser first. What we need to do is go over to Tools, click on Tools, and then it'll talk about installing the Diigo toolbar. Now the Diigo toolbar, if you're wondering which one you should do, it's going to give you access to all the functions and all the power of Diigo. I don't use the Diigo toolbar myself. I use the Diigo, which you'll see over here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the Diigo is like the simpler, easier version of the Diigo toolbar. Doesn't give you access to all the functions as easily, but it'll still get the job done in a simpler fashion. But let's start with the toolbar first. All right, you want to click the Install the Diigo toolbar, and it'll give you this opportunity to install it. You go ahead and install it. Firefox does its thing and says you need to restart Firefox. So we're going to do that. We're going to restart Firefox. Once you have the toolbar installed, you should see a new line on your browser right here. It should give you a whole bunch of buttons. But don't let that intimidate you, because we're only going to talk about 2 of these buttons for our purposes here at HighCallingBlogs. And feel free to experiment with the other buttons and see what they do. But for what we're trying to do, all we need to worry about is the bookmark button over here and the highlight button. Those are the only 2 that we're going to play with for what we're talking about for HighCallingBlogs. And it's really pretty simple. What we're going to do initially is just, excuse me, what we're going to do initially is just keep track of the comments we make on the network, especially for the leadership team. This is kind of important. It's one of the tracking things that we're trying to keep track of, and Diigo is going to be a great tool to help us do that. So what we do is, so I've left a comment here on this post that David Rupert made today, is everyone above average. And all we do is scroll down to where I left the comment already, down here, and I want to mark this so that we can have a record that I made this comment. And you can do this anywhere in the network. It doesn't have to be on the HighCallingBlogs website. It can be anywhere in the network. That's the beauty of Diigo. It'll track, we can record that from anywhere. So what I want to do with the Diigo toolbar is I've got this URL selected. That's the URL of the blog post that I made the comment on, and I want to bookmark it. So I'll click Bookmark. This is going to be a public bookmark. We want to leave a tag. And in this case, I'm just doing a general tag for HCB comment because it's a HighCallingBlogs comment. And I also want to share it with a group. And the group I'm going to share it with is, in this case, HighCallingBlogs comments, because we're tracking the comments for the leadership team. But whatever group you need to select out of that, you just use the drop down, select the group, and you can go ahead and leave this comment. You just save the bookmark like that. Okay, that's the bookmark function. Piece of cake. I saved it to the group, and I'll show you what that looks like in Diigo in a minute. But before I do, let me show you how the highlight function works. You can highlight the comment itself and then click the highlight button. It's done. It didn't look like it did anything, but I'm pretty sure, yep, it highlighted it in yellow. So now anytime I come back to this page, my comment's going to be highlighted in yellow, so it's easy for me to find. What did I say? I just look down for the yellow text, and it's great. It's right there. Now, if I go back to my library, you can see, I got to refresh the page. Oh, there's one. Is everyone above average? That's the name of the post. And look, my comment is highlighted right there, so I know what I said. And I can also go to my groups, and I put this in the HCB comments group, and I can look in there, and oh, there's my comment at the top of the list because I was the most recent person to leave a comment. And that's really all we need to do with the Diigo toolbar for what we're trying to do with HighCallingBlogs. Now let me show you how the Diigo works. Now let's talk about the Diigo. One of the reasons why I use the Diigo is because I do a lot of my work in Safari. And if you go to Tools, if you're in Safari, you'll see a message here. The toolbar for this browser is not available. That's okay. I can use the Diigo instead, so let's go do that. I click the button, I go to the Diigo page, and it says down here for Safari, make sure your bookmarks toolbar is available. Mine is, and then all I have to do is drag this button up to my toolbar and let it go. It's going to ask me for a name. I want to call it Diigo. We're good to go. That's all I have to do to install it. No restarting the browser, piece of cake. So then I go to a post. Here's one that Michelle wrote earlier in the week. It says, "What drives your dreams?" And I thought that was a good post, and so did a whole bunch of other people think it's a good post. So there's a bunch of comments on that post. Way to go, Michelle. And there's my comment. To use the Diigo, all I have to do when I get to my URL that has the post that I've left the comment on is click the Diigo button. And then it says loading Diigo, and then it's got some buttons that pop up. Well, the first thing I want to do is bookmark. So I bookmark it. Again, it's going to be a public thing. I can leave a description in there, but I'm just going to leave that blank for a moment. Then I'm going to put HCB comment, just like I did before, and I'm going to tag it and put it and share it with the group. So you may use a different tag, you may use a different group, but this is all you have to do that. And then I click Save Bookmark. Done. Piece of cake. Now, I also want to highlight it so it's there, so all I do is highlight that, and I can hit the highlight button. Again, done. Piece of cake. That's all I need to do. So let's go back and see what it looks like when we look at it in my library. It looks just the same. What drives your dreams? There's my comment. If I go to my groups and go to the HighCallingBlogs group, HCB comments, there they are, the two posts, the two comments that I just left on posts. And if you want to see where the post was, you can go back here and it'll take you right to that same post. It's really good to go. So that's really all that's involved with what we're doing with Diigo. Now there's a whole bunch of other functions you can do, and I encourage you to explore them because Diigo is a very powerful way to organize the web in a way that's logical for you. Plus you get the highlights, so anytime you have Diigo on and you go back to that page, that highlighting is still there. For example, let's scroll all the way down and look at my post. It should still be yellow, I hope. Oh, it's not. Oh, because I turned the Diigo off. But I turn the Diigo back on, there it goes. It goes to yellow. See? It's just a piece of cake. It's really, really simple. And if you have any questions, just give me a shout. I'm glad to answer them because that's what I do. I explain things so that hopefully you understand them. I'm Chris Cree, and this is HighCallingBlogs, and we're using Diigo to help organize the web and make things easier for our network.